So, welcome to our first episode of High Kicks and Higher Voices. I'm joined by Isaac Westbrooks today, who needs no introduction. Isaac is very well known, but I am going to hype you anyway, Isaac, okay? So, Isaac, a bit about your basketball journey. You went to college in Colorado, you were state champion. You then went on to North Park University, Chicago. After college, you played professionally in Spain, Iceland, and England. You came back to Ireland then, you're playing with Swords Thunder, Malahide, Leicester. You played international basketball, underage, junior men's and senior men's. And you're back playing with Leicester Super League this year.
Yes.
So how is all that going for you?
It's going great, to be honest. It's coming to a close, I would say. Unfortunately, I'm very reluctant to let go of my basketball career because I've enjoyed it so much. It's kind of brought me all over the world and given so much back to me. But yeah, no, it's going great, and then to be able to end it here at Leicester is probably the most fitting end because Leicester is home to me and to my family. We have so much history here with Leicester.
Bleed black and orange.
We really do. Maybe the rest of them a little bit more than myself, but yeah, it's definitely the closest club to my heart and to my family's heart. So yeah, no, it's going great.
That's so nice to hear.
Yeah.
And I feel like basketball runs in your DNA, right? So like your dad came here in the early 80s.
Yes.
He was probably one of the first Black Americans to be brought in from the States to Ireland. I feel like Jerome was probably one of the first Black people even in Ireland. Like
I think so.
I don't know. People can fact check me, but I think
he may not be the very first, but he's definitely part of that first crop. You know, he tells stories, and when he first came over here, where he'd walk through the streets and kids would come up to him and rub his skin.
Yeah, my dad has the same story.
And so it's like that's how kind of like.
And that was the 80s, okay? This is what, 81?
My dad came, I think, in 83.
83, like, that's not that long ago.
No, absolutely not.
Like 40 years. For people to be rubbing your skin and asking, is that your skin, is crazy.
It's crazy to think,
But like, your dad, he's contributed so much to Irish basketball, playing, coaching. He's very well respected. He's really loved. When you first started, did you feel like you had big boots to fill? Like, did you feel like you had to live up to his name or be better than him? Like, how did you?
I don't know if I felt like I had to be better than him. I think it was more like I felt privileged to be his son. And even now today, everywhere you go in the country, someone will come up to me and say, "How's your dad doing?" And you know, they always speak on kind of his character and who he was, and so in that regard, yes, there's big boots to fill in terms of being that kind of good person.
Even I've been mistaken for a Westbrook before. It's like, oh, you're Jerome's daughter. I'm like, no, the other one.
I think the other one. It's to all of us. Are you a Troy? No, I'm a Westbrooks. But it is. It's a privilege, you know. It's pretty cool to be able to walk into gyms and be recognised. And I think it's really an honour to
absolutely,
have that.
Absolutely. And what I'm going to get into next, I want people to really understand that growing up in the 80s and 90s as a Black kid was a bit of a lonely space. You know, there was the Westbrooks, the Troys, the Randolphs, the Blacks, the Macmillans. Your family friend, Anto Rimson, who is Black as well, but like Jared Jago, Emer Foley, who's now, I think, Emer O'Neill. There wasn't a lot of us,
it was very small community.
It was very small community. I like to think that we were like the OG mixed babies, you know, self-proclaimed, but we paved the way for all you mixed kids out there. But it was a bit of a lonely space. So like, I know my brother and myself, like, because he's male, female, we have different experiences with it. So like, I know my brother was in fights nearly every day. People calling him the N-word, saying all sorts of things in school. What was it like for you growing up in the 80s, 90s as a Black kid in Dublin?
It was difficult. Yeah, it definitely was. You know, I had those same experiences where, you know, you're being racially profiled or you're being racially abused. And it was difficult to try and, I know for me personally, I always ask myself, like, where do I fit in here? And I know, like, most kids probably have to deal with that. You're always trying to find your place in society, but as a black kid, it was very obvious that you were different.
Yeah.
And then also, we didn't quite have the same family support structure. I don't know if you felt that.
Yeah.
But like, you didn't have aunts, you didn't have uncles,
Yeah.
you didn't have cousins.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you were always trying to kind of find your way
Yeah.
and find your place in society. And then, you know, how do you respond
Yeah.
to being racially abused?
Yeah.
You know, we were brought up not to fight, you know, so, you know.
A little bit different than the Troy.
Yeah. So like throwing hands wasn't the solution.
Throwing hands was the only solution in my head.
And so yeah, so you're trying to figure out like, what do you do when somebody calls you the N-word?
Yeah.
And especially younger, when I was younger, as I grew up, you know, I was able to deal with it maybe more maturely. But I think in my younger days, it made me very much so an introvert.
Yeah.
I kind of stayed to myself. I didn't really put myself out there.
Yeah.
Which is why I kind of gravitated to basketball.
Yeah.
It was a refuge for me. I was able to, it was a safe place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a place where I could excel. And yeah, it was difficult, for sure. I've had plenty of experiences. I'll share a story. You know, I used to cycle to school with my younger brother Aaron, from Baldo to Bayside, and every day after school there was a local bully, we'll call him, well known in the neighbourhood as the kid you don't mess with, because you just didn't know what he was going to do. But every day after school he would wait for us in one of the parks that we would have to cross, and he would hurl racial abuse and throw rocks at us for like no reason. And like we were, you know, I was maybe 5th class, 6th class, and Aaron would have been 3rd or 4th class.
Yeah, so like between the ages of 8 and 10.
We were like super young. This kid, you know, he was older. And it was like, what? We didn't understand it. It was like, why would this kid just wait for us after school every day to just abuse us? That went on for quite a while until we took the Troy approach and put an end to it. And so like those type of things happened quite a bit growing up here. And then again, there weren't a lot of black kids, and so there wasn't a lot of support. There also wasn't a lot of education at that point.
No. And did you feel like school was, you got it most in school, or you got it most in your community?
Probably in school. I didn't get it so much in my community because I didn't really hang out in my community very much. Like you said, basketball was in our DNA, in our family, and we were very much so, basketball kind of ruled the roost. So all we did was we went to school, we came home, we ate, and we went to basketball training. So I wasn't in the community that much. So yeah, it would have been in school, and then I actually experienced it quite a bit when I played Gaelic football.
I've heard that from other people.
That was where it was probably the worst, believe it or not. Because again, there weren't many black kids playing Gaelic. I was actually quite good at Gaelic, and so I was an easy target. And so there was a lot of racial abuse there. It's also very easy because you're on a big pitch, so like no one could call you out on it. You know, they stamp on your feet with their studs, call you the N-word, things like that. And again, it was for me, I was just like, where is it coming from? And again, I guess it was just a place of uneducated people.
For me, I feel like, I know this interview's about you, but I'm going to share a story too. I feel like for me, school was probably the worst. And it wasn't from my peers. Like my peers, I feel like always had my back. It was the teachers. And when I look back, the teachers couldn't have been any older than yourself and myself. And it's like, it's neat like they went out of their way to like just make you feel so small, you know. One story I have, which is probably the worst story I might have, was I must have been in second or third year, and I was reading, you know, the book Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. It's like one of the books you have to read in English class. And my English teacher didn't really like me very much anyway because I was always skipping class for basketball. But I remember the night before, I was like, Mom, we're going to be reading this book in class tomorrow, and it kind of has the N-word in it, like, what do I do? And she said, well, just before class, just speak to the teacher and just say, this word makes you feel uncomfortable, so I'd appreciate it if we don't read it. And of course my dad was like, anyone reads that word, you tell them you have to deal with you after class. And then my mom was like, don't do that. Just tell the teacher it makes you feel uncomfortable. So I was okay. And it's like that at night, you're getting anxious because you're like, how's tomorrow going to go? And not that other kids don't have to deal with that. Every kid has to deal with being anxious and going to school, but this is something different where it's like, it's only you. There's nobody in there that's going to have your back. Either you stand up for yourself or you say nothing, and you're just on your own.
Yeah.
So I remember class the next day, I said to my teacher, I don't really feel comfortable with this word, or this word makes me feel uncomfortable, can we just skip over it? And I remember she turned to me and she was like, it's part of English literature. And that was all she said, and I was kind of like, how's this going to go? So, I sat down, and again, I'm 14, 15 years old, and in class everyone takes a turn of reading, and got to the word, and people just skipped the word.
Okay.
So I was kind of like,
yes.
Okay, that's fine. And then gets the next person, they skip the word, and then my teacher said, stop skipping words.
You joke.
And I was like, what? Got the next person, they skipped the word. And the next teacher said, read that word. So then I took my dad's approach, and I was like, if anyone reads this word, they're going to have to do it with me after class. So it kept going on and on, and no one was reading the word. Like some people would joke and be like, nah, but not actually read it,
Yeah.
So the teacher said, close your books, I'm going to read. So she continued to read, and then she read it out. And I remember just feeling like so betrayed, so hurt, so like this person is supposed to be here protecting me, and like, what do I do? And again, I'm a 14-year-old girl, the whole class is looking at me. Obviously we were always raised to be very outspoken and stand up for ourselves. So I just walked out of class, called my mom, told her what happened, and my mom, RIP, but she was 10 toes down when it came to her kids. My mom would be the first person to call you racist, to the point where my dad would be like, okay, honey, chill, chill. But I think it's because my mom is Irish. She grew up in the rooms where people were having conversations of, racist conversations. She knew the jokes, she knew the undertones, what people were saying. So I think that's why she was so overprotective.
Yes.
So she came to school, spoke to the principal was saying, oh, I don't think the teacher meant it that way, and blah, blah, blah. So I remember to this day, I was standing outside of class, and my mom, I could hear her little heels coming up to class, and I was like, oh, this woman's on a mission. And my mom wasn't an aggressive or argumentative person. She was very ladylike, she used to complain at me about being aggressive and argumentative, but she was so diplomatic, and she would just tie you up with her words. So she came to class and she said, Miss Rock, can I speak to you for a minute, please? And Miss Rock was like, I'm in a class, Miss Troy. And my mom said, no, you can come outside now. So she came out, my mom just tore into her, and I was there
that's my mom.
Yeah, what are you going to say now? So she made my teacher go back into class and apologize to me in front of everybody.
Great.
It was absolutely iconic.
Yeah.
But if, I always think about if kids didn't have open lines of communications with their parents, weren't outspoken, weren't confident, were quieter or meek, it could be so destructive.
Oh, absolutely.
They have
or
to sit with that.
Outspoken about it. Yeah.
And I don't know if you got this too, but being a black kid or biracial, you have so much internal dialogue of, okay, do I say something, do I not say something? If I say something, are they going to say, oh, I'm just joking, you're taking it too serious? Or, oh, you're just being aggressive, just let it go. And then if you don't say something, you get home and it eats you up, because you're like, I didn't say what I wanted to say. And it's so much internal dialogue to have to deal with. And as a young kid, it's really hard. And like yourself, as you get older, you learn to navigate the situations, and you don't really care if people think about you, so you just say what you want to say. But as a kid, you are kind of like, what do I do here?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's hard to navigate those situations.
Yeah, and I think that was always the thing, is do I just why are you taking it so seriously? Just relax. It's only a joke.
Yeah.
That's what it was back in the day a lot. It's only a joke. We're only messing.
Yeah.
But I don't think they understood how hurtful it was, or how much you then had to go home and wrestle with yourself. It's it was so difficult. Then you're going home and you're, I should have said something. Should I have fought him? Should I have hit him? Was I in the wrong? You start to question your own kind of standing in those situations. And do you think your teacher did that in a malicious way, or
100%? I honestly, I think. Like I said, I think the teachers were worse than the kids. I don't know if they were, because they were that bit older, they weren't used to black kids, but it was just when I look back, I'm like, I'm that age, I would never want to make a kid feel like that. If anything, you go out of your way to make the kid who's different feel included or feel comfortable, you know.
Absolutely.
Thankfully, you know, we do have basketball. That is our safe space. It is somewhere where we excelled, we felt loved, and maybe it's because of our parents or because of our dad's names that they were so loved that kind of just overpoured on us and our siblings, that we always felt valued playing basketball, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we can share stories for days about these experiences, but one of the positive things I think about growing up black was that, like, deep down I secretly loved it, because it was like I'm unique. It was like my power, it was like my identity. I was like one of a kind.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
Absolutely. And as I grew up, that kind of expanded, or like when people started to racially abuse me, it made me feel like a giant almost, and then to feel like this like miniature. You know, I had something that they envied and that they wanted and that they were jealous of, and you know, in a weird kind of way, I was proud of it. And I felt like unique, and I was like, look at me, like you wish,
and if you saw it,
you wish you could be black, like.
When you saw a black kid, you'd be like, where did you come from? Hold on. I'm the only one in this space. There was so much of that. But do you think black kids today have it worse growing up than what we had it, or do you think they have it better?
Probably worse.
I agree.
I think it's worse, and probably because we probably don't even see half, with the way social media is, probably don't even see half of the abuse that goes on, and it's so easy to attack people. Like, you have constant access to people if you want to send an abusive message or anything, and then just I think just the overall culture at the moment is so volatile that I think it's worse now today than it possibly ever has been. Which is a sad state of affairs.
Scary.
It really is scary.
I know you have young kids. I don't have any kids yet, but you know, I often think about what is it going to be like for them. And obviously, my kids will only be a quarter black. They may not even look like. They might get Paul's genes and just be blonde hair, blue eyes, white. You know, they might not even get it. But like, I think it's easier in the sense that it's so diverse that you see more people like you. You know, so you see more representation. You see guys like yourself playing basketball, women like myself, your sister, other black girls coming from the States playing, where you do see more representation. But with that, I feel like comes so much, like, good conversations around racism and discussions and open discussions, but I think it kind of leaves an avenue for like underlying prejudice. And like, by that I mean, you know, when we grew up, we were the only kind of black family in our community, you know, so it's like, oh, they're the Troys, the Westbrooks, you know, they're that black family that play basketball, they're so cool.
Almost celebrity.
Celebs. But then now I feel like, you know, there's 10 black families in a neighborhood and people are kind of like, who's your man, you know, like, how do you get that car? Oh, I don't like this, you know, you kind of do start to question your bias, question your prejudice. So I would agree. I think they do probably have it harder than what we had growing up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd have to agree.
Do you what sort of advice could you give to young kids on their career basketball, or for their future career in basketball, black or white or whatever?
I think this was told to me as well when I was growing up. It's just always know that somebody's watching. You know, you're like, you may be the next generation coming up, but there's a generation that's going to follow behind them, whether black or white. And so you want to carry yourself in a manner that you can be proud of, that your parents can be proud of. You're not always only representing yourself. A lot of the times you're representing a much broader community, whether it's your club or your school, and so that should always be in the back of your mind when you are in a public space. You know, and so you want to just carry yourself with the level of respect and respect for others, regardless of their background or their ethnicity or their religious beliefs, or whatever it is. You know, it's somebody's always watching, and you are influencing somebody all the time. So just to always keep that in mind, and not get carried away sometimes. It's easy to get carried away in sports.
Yeah.
You know, it's very easy.
Yeah,
I still find myself getting carried away. But yeah, if you can kind of keep that in the back of your mind, I think it keeps you on a path that is morally correct.
Yeah, that's good advice. That's great advice.
Thanks.
Great advice.
Thanks.
Very profound.
Yeah. Not to get too deep on you. That's from in the basketball sense, I'd say just put in the work. You know, the work speaks for itself. Nobody became great by sitting on the couch and doing nothing. So
and you're a test to that. You know, a lot of work you put in over the years. A lot of work.
I love the work. You know, the work to me is the fun part. You know, you put in the work and you see the results. That's kind of in my DNA, even away from basketball. Like I enjoy labor because you put in the work and you see the results. You see the results. And that's kind of how I am.
Absolutely. And obviously, where this podcast is to celebrate Black History Month. But growing up, you know, we spoke about it. We didn't have a Black History Month in school. It wasn't in our history. We didn't. Well, I don't know about you, but in my secondary school or primary school, we didn't have anything about Black history in our school books. You know, we had like very subtle conversations around kind of like the negative sides of Black history, like slavery, segregation, all like that. You know, nothing positive was ever discussed. And there is massive positive impacts that Black people have had on society, whether it's breakthroughs in science, inventions, you know, sporting achievements. But what does Black History Month mean to you in Ireland?
I just think it's really important. You know, it's a month where we can really focus on educating people, like you said, on Black excellence. You know, I asked my daughter before coming here today if they were doing anything for Black History Month in school. She said, "Oh yeah, we were talking about it today. We were talking about the first Black female astronaut to go to space." You know, and I just think that these conversations are really important, especially now as I'm a father and for my kids growing up, for them to be proud of their heritage and within Ireland. Then I again, with the culture being what it is right now, I just think it's important that the Black community in Ireland know that they are loved and respected and that they have value. And that they have so much to give to Irish society and Irish culture. I'd love to do it more than for just a month. But I think it's really important that in the month of Black History Month that we really do, you know, take advantage of this space and this time to celebrate Black people.
Baby steps. Maybe it'll be in our history books one day.
I mean, and I think it will be baby steps. My wife's a teacher out in St. Andrews, and she's just taken over the library in the school. And one of the things that she did was she got rid of all the old books because all of the old books again, they're so outdated, and so she's reading through some of them, and it's mind-boggling. Like you said, everything is a negative connotation, and it's like, no, we're getting rid of all of those and we're bringing in all new books with Black kids on the cover, you know,
that's great.
things like that.
Wow.
She's awesome.
Shout out Angie.
Shout out wifey. I just think it's really, really important.
That's great. Okay, some fire round questions before we finish up.
Oh, Jenny Mac.
Okay. A little bit of drama.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh no, where are we going? Oh yeah, okay, here we go. Okay, who's your favourite player of all time?
I have two. Can I have two?
No, only one. It's fire round.
Okay, Allen Iverson.
Okay. Yeah, Alan with braids. Who would win in a one-on-one between Andy or Paddy?
Paddy.
Oh, Farouk or Bach?
Bach.
Kaysen or Isaiah?
Kaysen.
Johnny or Brian?
Johnny.
No, not back in the day, I mean like right now.
Johnny.
Yeah. Okay, any pre-game ritual or superstition?
No superstitions. I tie my wedding ring to my shoes.
Angie.
Another shout out to wifey.
That is so
I'm in the
cute.
bad books. I'm trying to get back in the good
Yeah.
books.
That's so cute. Okay, actually, I don't know if anyone has ever heard Isaac and his brothers rap, but they can rap, okay? Yeah.
A few drinks. And,
Yeah, okay, so what is your go-to hype song before your game?
Anything by Lil Wayne.
Okay, rap me a verse.
Jane Mack. No.
Okay. If you weren't playing basketball, what other sport would you be playing?
Football.
As in Gaelic football or football soccer?
Soccer. But I'm
Okay.
terrible at it. I just wish I was good at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of all the Westbrooks in their prime, who wins? Oh, my money was on Eric.
No. At all the Westbrooks at any time ever, I win. And they'll all give the same answer.
I love the confidence. Okay, that is it for our interview, but we do have a competition sponsored by Dickie's Electrical. Gotta plug my husband, you know. So, Dickie's Electrical is going to give €100 away to the interviewee that can get the quickest time scoring a right hand layup, left hand layup, free throw and 3-point. Okay, so I'm going to time you. And
Pressure.
you can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
I could use €100.
Couldn't we all? Okay. Right hand layup, left hand layup, free throw, and 3-pointer. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yeah, sorry. Oh yeah. Okay, 19.1. That's gonna be a hard time to beat. Okay, good job.
Thanks.
Okay, that concludes our interview today. Isaac, thank you so much for sitting with me. Really enjoyed our chat as always. Always great to talk to you. Tune in next week for another episode and a surprise guest. Thank you.